Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Hey. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate movies. I like how my guest, Jeff Horste. Jeff, you just came in. Hi.
Yeah, right after I did it, I was like, nope, should have waited. The caffeine's hitting me early.
This is fun.
All right.
I've had caffeine too, and I am jazzed. I'm ready to go. My guest today, Jeff Horste. He is here. Me and Jeff, we go pretty far back. We met back in, you were still living in Detroit when I met you.
Yeah, I met you at the Motor City Comedy Festival.
Yes.
When you guys came down.
What a time.
Yeah.
I love that festival. And since then, you have had some wonderful comedic success of your own. Comedy Central. You got yourself a couple appearances courtesy of Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Heart of the City, and a half-hour special.
Yeah.
You've done some other fun stuff in comedy since being out here in Los Angeles. What are you up to these days?
These days I'm trying to stay busy. I'm trying to get out more. I feel like I was socially awkward enough before the pandemic that afterwards of not practicing talking to human beings for enough time was easily like justifying staying inside for too much. So now I'm going back to like, you know, like when your mom would like make you say hi to a kid and you're like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, I think I need that now. I think I need a mom to stand next to me and be like, Jeffrey, what? Now, did you say hi to him? Like, I think I need that.
I've never been more appreciative of Trader Joe's cashiers than in this exact moment in time, because they are asked by management to have conversations with the people who they check out with.
That makes sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But now that makes sense.
Dude, you got to just go shop at Trader Joe's and practice your conversational skills.
That's it.
It's so easy to do. They will save your life. They will keep you from feeling awkward in this post-pandemic, sort of during the pandemic still life that we're living now.
Yeah.
But also, that's what podcasts are for.
Practice talking.
And you've come to me to talk about a movie you hate, as we do on this podcast. And that movie you hate is 2003's Open Water, directed by Chris Kentis, starring Blanchard Ryan as Susan Watkins, Daniel Travis as Daniel Kintner, Saul Stein as Seth, and Michael Williamson as David. It's a shark attack movie based on true events of people who get left behind at a scuba diving expedition, and they got to fight off some sharks in the middle of the ocean. Jeff, why? Why do you hate this movie?
There was nothing that it did right. There was not a single aspect of it that was entertaining or funny, or I know it's a shark attack movie, so how funny do you want it to be?
I don't want my shark attack movies to be funny at all.
But the characters weren't likable. I was rooting for the shark. I was watching the movie and I was like, most of the movie was them arguing. So most of and it's like, I'm sure that this would happen in real life, but is this the part of the true story that we want to focus on? Is a couple's argument, and then it just made me like them even less, because right away it's like, you got us. They're just blame. It seemed like a bad improv scene.
That's
for 30 minutes of, there was like a solid 30 minutes I felt like of them each pointing at the other person of like, we should have did this, we should have did that. And
if your job would have kept you less busy, then we would have been able to go to a different vacation.
Yeah, and I think, yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, okay, we can play the back and forth, coulda, woulda, shouldas, whatever.
Zip, zap, zops, all that stuff.
Zip, zap. Like, I don't know. It just wasn't. And you know what? And to me, I didn't know this until watching it the second time, because I just held this hatred since 2003.
Sure.
And it wasn't until watching it a few days later that I how much of the movie I missed, because I saw it in theaters. And I just remember my cousin being like, "Oh yeah, you didn't even get to see the titties in the movie. You didn't even get to see you didn't even get to see the naked people. You know,
there were naked people in the very beginning of the movie.
In the beginning of the movie, and I missed that. And then when I watched it the second time, it looked more amateur of a movie the second time, because I saw all of the job stuff in the beginning of it, where they were saying they were making it seem how busy they were. That just you don't appreciate a good movie until you see a bad movie, where you're just analyzing each shot and you're like, oh, I could have did this
now
with my phone. I could have shot this.
Okay. So and I'm shocked to say this. This is where I have to disagree with you.
Okay. All right.
Because I'll tell you it straight up. I went into this. You told me open water. I'm like, this is going to be a fucking softball, easy movie to hate. Why would anyone like this movie? And then I saw on Rotten Tomatoes it has a 71%, which I was like, that's kind of crazy, but okay. And then I watched it and I felt the same way as you did for like the first. And by the way, this is a 79-minute long movie. I felt this way for like the first third of the movie, where I was like, what is this? This looks really amateur. Obviously it's shot on DV tape. So it's got that camcordery feeling to it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of weird editing choices. Like there's a lot of like they're in a hotel together and there's a shot from below while they're brushing their teeth. Yeah. That's just a static shot on them brushing their teeth. Yeah. For like 2 minutes.
Yeah. We didn't need that long of a scene of them brushing their teeth.
It doesn't. None of the stuff in that first third of the movie made any sense, and the acting was bad. And I was like, this just feels. I'm so ready to hate this movie. I can't wait to talk to Jeff about how much I hate this movie.
What changed it for you?
What changed was all the stuff that happened when they actually got abandoned in the water. There's a part, I think it's almost halfway in the movie, where they are stranded, and it's after the first beat of them being stranded, when they're still like looking around at the ships and they're like, oh, maybe that one's ours. Maybe that one's ours. Mm-hmm. And there's a sequence that happens where there's a music cue of some sort of like islandy sounding music. And there's a lot of shots of just water. Right. Yeah. And there's like a shot of water from above. There's a shot of water from below. There's a shot of water from sort of a different angle, and it's all different colors and stuff. And I was like, this is getting kind of like surreal and artsy. And I was just like, I'm getting kind of taken in by this movie. And then the person who I agree, I still didn't like her as a character, but our lead, Blanchard Ryan, as Susan, all of a sudden, her performance started to outshine the horrible script. And I started to actually get worried about her. And I didn't give a fuck about the guy, but I was just like, I got so drawn in. Yeah. And I will say, I don't think it's a good movie still. I think it's like, I would give this maybe 2.5 or 3 stars.
Out of 10?
Out of 5.
Oh, what? I don't know. Out of 5, that's a deep.
This is a decent. I was shocked at how decent this movie was.
The first thing she says, did you get us lost? Right away, it's his fault. Yeah. Like, why is it only my fault to know where the boat is? And we're 2 human beings. We were in this together. Right away, it was her fault.
Right.
Then she's like, did you pee? Yeah, bitch, I'm in the middle of the ocean. Where do you think I'm going to pee?
Right.
We've been here for hours. You think I'm just going to hold it? I might die.
Yeah.
And you're worried about where I peed? Like, there's so many tiny things
but they're not worried about dying at this point. This is still like in the first 45 minutes in the water.
Yeah, I felt
That's
like
the part
right
I was
away,
like, also
right away
yeah,
I knew that they were going to die. I felt like it was you're waiting for especially when it's like there's another half an hour left of the movie. There's no hope in sight. They're just yelling at each other. I wanted to at least see one of them get eaten by a shark. They didn't even give us that.
Yeah, they did.
You didn't actually. I wanted to see a mouth of a shark. They just fade to black, and then you hear noises, and it's implied that a shark ate somebody. And I'm like, I'm supposed to use my imagination.
Swarming around in the feeding frenzy.
You see them, yeah. You see sharks swimming around, and you hear classic shark noises.
You see a lot of blood. But here's the thing. All right, there's so much weird credit that I have to give this movie, which I will agree with you on on probably 90% of your criticism with this movie, which is it's bad. The acting's bad. The script is bad.
It wasn't boring to you?
A lot of it was, but once you got
I knew that they were going to die the first time I watched it.
I didn't think they were going to die. I thought that one of them was going to die.
They didn't even show the people because to me, what would have helped the movie to me is if earlier on they showed the people that noticed they were gone. Mm-hmm. Like it was too long spent in the water for me to even remember that there even was people that might be looking for them. Like they could have went back and forth a little bit faster because it was a solid amount of time before I was like, yeah, no, they they've been gone for so long.
Yes. And that's a
like
problem.
when he noticed, when he's like, "Oh, there's 7 hours." When he noticed how long he's been in the water, I'm like, "Oh, if it's been 7 hours that you've been in the water, and we haven't even shown the people at the land even notice you're gone, you're dead. You're gonna die."
The craziest part to me too, and I guess this is also like based on real events. So this is the craziest based on real events part. The real story that it's based on, they didn't notice that they were gone for 2 days.
It's insane.
That's so insane.
Yeah.
Even the guy when they're in the water, the guy makes a lot of great points, which are like we have their tanks, our stuff is on their boat.
Yeah.
How would they not know that we are gone? Which just shows the incompetence of the people who are running this dive operation.
Yeah.
This horrible, I'm never going to go scuba diving ever because of this movie.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think this movie is effective because of that. Because it makes me actually afraid of something that I'm not that afraid of, which is the water.
So now you're like, I just don't trust businesses.
Yeah.
Now you just.
I think that I can't trust the fallibility of humans to keep me from getting attacked by sharks.
Sure.
If you're going to have a guy who like is so bad at his job that he can't even notice that the tanks that are owned by that company are missing from the boat.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
And then nobody even, how unlikable are you that there's 10 people? No, there's 20 total.
Yeah.
But just none of those people noticed.
Yeah.
On the whole ride back.
They
nobody
were in
was
their
like,
own little world. Nobody
"Weren't
gave a
they?"
shit.
Yeah, that's so, it's so crazy.
Even the unlikable guy who's like, I gotta get in the fucking water. I gotta dive. I'm cool to dive by myself. Which is I mean, that's that again, laughably bad.
Yeah.
That whole sequence is so laughably bad.
They didn't have an extra mask. They didn't notice that he didn't have his own mask before he got there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's so many things that I'm like, this is based on a true story, but yet it's still not believable to me. That was what was bad to me, was that if it's based on a true story, and it's I should at least be able to, I should at the end of it believe it. But I'm like, the only thing that they know at the end, they got a camera out of a shark's stomach, and then they made up the rest of everything else. So you had so much freedom in this based on a true story tale to make it good.
Right.
So that's to me why it was so bad, is because I was like, you had permission. All you knew was shark kill people. You can make up everything else.
Right.
And everything they made up made it worse and was more unbelievable and weird.
I 100% agree with you on that. I think that I don't know whether it was improvised or whether the dialogue was actually written, but either way, it was some of the worst dialogue I have heard ever in a movie.
Because that's like one of the first things they tell you about story writing, and of like we don't want to hear two people arguing. Like that's why they say in improv of like,
We don't want to hear two people
we
arguing.
don't want to hear two people arguing
Because it's boring. It just sounds the same all the time. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, I wanted to see him stab it. He could have stabbed a shark. We're making this up.
He had a knife.
He had a knife, but no, he lost the knife.
He lost the knife.
Sure. Why did we? You don't know if he lost the knife in real life. So why can't we pretend that he stabbed a shark on the way when he was going out?
Yeah.
Make it somewhat of a fight. As soon as they start swirling them, we're like, well, no, they're not going to live against 10 sharks.
Right.
That's not what's going to happen.
It's so bad, and it's so hacky for the guy to be all of a sudden like, you're blaming me all of a sudden because you think your mother my mom loves me. Your mom loves me. Why can't you just be cool for once, bitch? Like this is basically what the movie devolves into.
Yeah.
Anytime that they're not talking, though, anytime that there's just the terror of, we're fucked. We're in the water. We can't see anybody. No one can see us. We are going to die. Like, I think even the moment when they fall asleep and they drift apart when it's daytime still, and this moment of them having to like get back to each other, I think that's really effective, and it works because I'm like, oh no, what if this is where somebody gets really badly attacked by a shark? What if one of them loses a leg here?
Yeah.
Because that's the part where we don't have to hear them talking. We don't have to hear them having a horrible argument. We don't have to hear them talking about like, I'm not in the mood.
Your imagination can make it more exciting. You don't have to rely on the dialogue 100% to.
I think this movie would have been, if this movie was a silent film,
That's the most insult that you can ever say towards if I ever made a movie and then you told me at the end of it, this would have been better if all of the dialogue was taken away.
If all of it was gone, this movie would be at least 4 stars.
Oh, that would kill me. If I heard somebody say that about a film that I made, if somebody said that would have been better as a silent film.
Because I think that there's like a level of artistry that is somehow evident in the filmmaking, and it feels kind of weirdly intimate because it's shot on digital video, where it feels kind of like a found footage home movie a little tiny bit, just because of the quality of the camera.
But are we giving them too much for that? They got a shitty camera, so now we're going to say it's artsy?
No, I think that it adds to the atmosphere of the movie, but I think that also, like, you can elevate. You can make a movie feel a certain way by, obviously, right? Like,
sure.
Why does Paranormal Activity continue to work as a franchise? Because it looks like it's something you could shoot at home.
Yeah.
With Blair Witch Project, that had such a huge impact because it was found footage. I think this wouldn't work as a found footage. I do feel it adds a layer of something to the movie that adds to the dread. But it still doesn't detract from the fact that it's clearly, I think that the people who directed this, it feels like stumbled into making something that has good moments, even though it's a pretty bad movie the rest of the time.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
I can accept that.
How did you saw this in theaters? Like, why did you even see this in theaters for the first time?
It was just my family. I don't know which family member I have to blame specifically, but it was more of just like a family get together. It was like our cousins were going.
This seems like a weird movie for a family get-together.
It really does. I have no idea why this was the choice, and now I need to revisit this question. I remember I got there late. I think I rode with my brother, and like my sisters were there, and my aunt was there. And I feel like our whole family. We had a lot of family there, and I just remember my brother being so upset on the way out and walking up to strangers that were in line and was just like, "Bro, if you're gonna go see that movie, watch something else. If you want to see some sharks, go stop at a liquor store and then go to a Blockbuster, just rent Jaws."
What's a better shark movie? West Side Story has better, more believable sharks than this movie did.
Yeah. So he was just like, "No, you're not going to be happy that you saw this in a theater. It's not going to add to that." He was trying to talk people out, and it was funny watching the employees that were like upset at him.
I mean, that's smart. That's a good call. Honestly, I mean, I'm glad that I did not go see this movie in a theater. I feel like it would have wasted my time. I feel like part of why I'm even giving this movie some sort of credit is because I saw it at home. I was like,
and if I set
had
the bar
such
low enough,
expectations. You set the bar so low for this movie. Set the bar super low for this movie.
And that's why I can't think of another movie that's worse, because any movie that's worse that somebody else thinks of, I just think of, oh, well, that person had a good performance in it. Or like there's so many bad movies that people consider the worst movie of all time, but there might be a classic actor in it. There might be the visuals might be good. There, like, I don't know, other than the fact that they just chose a shark attack. Like, that's just what they chose as the genre. So I'm like, I can't really give them credit because there's suspenseful moments of a shark about to kill him.
Shark Attack is suspenseful anyway.
Yeah, so I'm like, what did you add to this?
And I'll say this.
So that I'm like, I can't think of any other movie that I'm like, that it did in all aspects overall was worse. Like, I don't know how, it's a horror movie. It's rated as a horror movie, and it was boring. How horror movies can be too gruesome or maybe too stupid or whatever. You don't like the plot, but boring for a horror movie is like, no, you messed up.
This is definitely, I think, if we're calling it a horror movie, then people are definitely going to be disappointed. I don't think this is a horror movie. This is kind of, I mean, this is the thing. Like,
that's just what they rated it on,
right?
When I was looking it up, which I'm like, how did we do a sequel too?
And I think they did 2 sequels.
They did 2 sequels with Open Water 3?
Open Water 3, The Cage.
I want to know, are the sequels now? This is when they pull me in. It's because now I feel like I have to watch the second one. Are these people that are related to them? Or is this just a separate shark movie?
Separate Shark Attack movies, completely different. And they got worse and worse over time.
So the third one is the worst one?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that's I mean, none of the same creative team. Everybody's different. I haven't seen either of those. I didn't watch. Why would I watch those if I'm already like?
Yeah.
I don't even really want to watch this, but I did.
Yeah.
And I don't think knowing that this is the peak of the open water franchise does not bode well for me wanting to go watch the other two movies in the open water franchise.
And you're right. They can't be characters that relate to the other ones because at some point, that was what my question was at some point, it's like your family should just know as a family, we don't fuck with sharks.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not doing.
Yeah.
Especially by the third one.
Who's the guy? I haven't seen Jaws. Also, this is my own cross to bear, as I haven't seen Jaws. But who's the guy in Jaws who's like going on? It's Quint, Roy Scheider.
I never really saw. I saw like so many bits and pieces of Jaws just being on
Never
TV.
seen the whole thing.
It's like I'm sure I've seen all the parts of it, but not in one sitting. And it's been so long, I can't tell you anything about it.
I know obviously there's a character in Jaws where there's a vendetta against the shark.
Yeah,
and they're gonna
need a bigger boat.
They're gonna need a bigger boat. They're gonna go hunt him down. They're gonna go kill the shark. I feel like the only reason that would make sense in this franchise is if the sequels are like the dad of the people, somebody who got killed, or they're like, we're gonna go hunt down this shark. But that's so silly. Also, by the way, another thing to this movie's credit is it did use real sharks. They didn't use a mechanical shark like in Jaws. They didn't use a CGI shark. They put these people in real shark infested waters. Yeah. And were like, good luck. Good luck. Terrifying.
So the fear was actually real by the time at the end of the movie.
Yes. Which is why I think it makes a lot of sense when the characters are screaming, because I'm like, oh, that's probably just these real people screaming. Yeah. The best acting that...
They're like, I didn't get paid enough for this.
The best acting that the guy, Daniel Travis, the best acting he does is when he's just screaming and he's just like, ah!
Oh, yeah.
Why am I here?
That felt real to me. Because he just for no reason just screamed out of nowhere. And then she was just mad. She was just looking at him angry. And then she's like, feel better. And I was just like, you can't even let him vent. Just everything she said made me root for the shark. Everything she did. I was like, he can't be angry that he's in the middle of the water with sharks around him. Yeah. He can't vent. I'm never gonna forget the fact that she yelled at him about him peeing in the water.
Totally unbelievable. Totally ridiculous. Where else are you gonna pee?
Where else?
Come on now.
What do you want from me?
And then he's so nice when she pukes on him.
Yeah. Exactly. He was a gentleman.
Real gentleman. Yeah, this movie also has tits in it for like no reason. It's in the first 8 minutes. Yeah. That's the only way. I feel like they did it just to get an R-rated movie.
Yeah. They showed them almost have sex, but I don't understand what that added to it. The fact that like they died without even having sex first. Like I don't know.
I mean, they're not virgins. They're clearly not virgins.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean like what did that scene add? They were like, "Do you want to have sex?" No, I'm tired.
It's just to show that they're fighting. It's just to show they're in a bad relationship. Oh, okay. But we already learned that by them arguing in the middle of shark-infested waters for no fucking reason. Yeah. This is not a good movie. Yeah. It's not a bad movie. I think it's straight down the middle. Like, it's got some bad elements. It's got some
wouldn't that be a 3?
Elements.
You said you gave it a 2, right?
I'd give it a 2.5 or a 3. I still have to figure out whether I agree with Roger Ebert or not, which is...
What did Roger say?
Roger Ebert...
Just call him Roger.
Oh, good old Raji. He said it gets under your defenses and sidesteps it's only a movie reflex and creates a visceral feeling that might as well be real. I think that's effective, but I also kind of agree with what A.O. Scott says, which is succeeds in mobilizing the audience's dread, but fails to make us care as much as we should about the fate of its heroes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just like, you're in the shark's home. Yeah. And you're assholes. Yeah. I'm rooting for the sharks.
And you dropped your knife, you idiot.
And you dropped your knife.
I think, like, here's a big question. What do you think could have been done to fix this movie? Is there anything that, like, you would have changed?
Yeah. For me, to go on a little bit, to expand on what I was rambling about before, I would have shown the people looking for them sooner. Or,
yes, yeah, I think that's
at least some explanation of their stupidity. Make me not like those. Like it didn't seem believable enough to me that they just went off of a checking system of marking one person at a time when they come in. Because I'm like, I feel like in any other serious situation, they would there's 20 people, just count them with your just 1, 2, 3, just point at them and count them. It just seemed weird to me that they were had so few checks and balances of making sure how many people were on the boat, and then they left.
With such a high stress activity like scuba diving too. Like
Yeah.
literally lives are in the balance.
Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, this. Yeah, exactly.
Just because people are on vacation doesn't mean you get to relax.
Yeah. It seemed a little bit weird to me, but to me mainly it would be I went so long without seeing them even acknowledge that there was a land of people that might be looking for them.
Yeah.
That I was just like accepting. Oh well, if that much time has passed, then without an explanation, then I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna die. So I'm just waiting to find out how they die.
Yeah.
Especially if it's based on a true story and I didn't hear about it, then I'm like, I'm sure if it was exciting where he got off by cutting the shark's head, we would have heard about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if this is based on a true story, all I went into it was like, I know it's based on a true story about a shark attack, but I've never heard of it. But I don't have to hear about everything. But
Yeah, I don't hear about every shark attack. I'm sure they happen.
Sure. So I'm like, what's so special about this shark attack?
Yeah. And we don't have an inspirational shark attack story like, the surfer who got her arm bitten off.
Yeah.
This is not that kind of a movie.
Yeah.
That movie exists, but it's not this kind of a movie. Mm-hmm. On that note, too, I think that if we had not only seen more of the mobilization of the Coast Guard or whoever was out looking for the search party, I kind of want to see a little bit more of the fallout of the guys who are running the dive operation. Because man.
For 2 days to not notice them, I'm like, if it's going to be that long, that doesn't mean you have to show them looking for it or change the plot sooner.
Yeah.
But you could at least give me an explanation as to why they're not looking for them. Like even the juxtaposition, if they were to show them screaming in the water and then they just show them just eating pancakes or just eating breakfast at the shore, you know what I mean?
Or
like,
even just show like the fallout of after they realize what's happened. Because you see them realize, you see the guy realize what happened. And then the next scene is the hotel manager knocking on the door of the hotel room being like, excuse me, are you here? And they're not in there. And that's it. And they immediately jump to a search party. And I think I want to see a scene of the guy who's led the dive, who did the tallying, just being like, no.
Yeah, this one's on me, guys.
Because that's got to really fuck with you psychologically.
Sure. Yeah. And you saw the part at the end, right? Did you watch through the credits?
Yes.
Where they cut them open
camera
and
out,
found the camera. And I was like, okay, that's enough for a story, but that's also enough for you to hold on to that knife.
Yeah.
For you to do something else.
Hold on to the knife. I think
you're right. But that guy, he must have been really beating himself up over that.
What I really think this movie should have had is there should have been more of a, not a horror movie. It's funny. I just did an episode where we talked about like horror versus thriller. And I think that this being classified as a horror movie doesn't do it any favors because I think it should be more of a thriller. I think it should be more of a psychological drama where there's all of this weird, like almost surrealist Lynchian kind of footage that happens where there's a lot of the music and the shots of the water and all this broad stuff. It's really like, it is kind of striking and it does have an artsiness to it, but you back it up with horrible acting, horrible dialogue, horrible other stuff. I think that obviously you got to have a better script. You got to have a script rewritten from day one. And I think that script has to focus more on allowing the actual trauma of the situation to spread from beyond just the two people who are in the water stranded. Because I think that's the kind of thing that naturally would happen in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Like I bet in real life, anytime the real story that this is based on, the Australian couple, I would imagine that the people in the sphere of influence of that dive expedition, of that dive crew, that probably really messed up those people's personal lives, psychological lives.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think it probably would have happened in like the immediate aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And I would love to see what that looks like.
If we would have just zoomed out a little bit further, you could have shown the boss.
Yes.
You could have shown the other people that would be affected by it.
Yeah.
And see just a glimpse of their lives of she better get back to work as soon as she's back on vacation, whatever,
right.
Of like have some other people that have expectations of them or are rooting for them or like, I don't know, just some emotion towards those two characters from other people would have pulled me in more as well to make me feel because then even if I don't because then even if she's annoying, it's like, okay, but she's got a kid that really loves her, and I don't want her to not have a mom. So, so you give me something to root for them. But to just see them be annoying and argue without I don't even know anybody that loves them. Like, I don't even.
I don't know anybody who loves them either.
So I'm like, I don't even feel bad at all. At the end, I'm like, I don't know. There's just 2 less scuba divers. Like, there's not a mother missing or you know what I mean. There's nothing else for me to feel bad about.
Right. This feels like all we've done here is we watched like the death of a Karen and a Carl, and that's all we've gotten.
Yeah.
And we've watched the death of 2 people who are annoying, who we don't like.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't need to necessarily like these people in order to want them to survive. But I do think we need to have like empathy for them. And I think by the end I have empathy for Susan. But I do not give a shit about Daniel. He is an idiot. He dropped his knife. He's so rude. Like,
I thought she was the rude one.
They were both rude. They both had their moments of being rude. But the whole sequence, the fight that he starts is even more petty and ridiculous than the fight that she starts. Because at that point, like, they're still under the impression that maybe they're about to get rescued when she starts to fight about, like, I can't believe you just peed. Okay. By the time she starts her fight, they've been in the water for like 7 hours.
And he's bringing up her mom.
He's bringing up her mom. He's bringing up, like, I can't believe that you think this is all my fault, when it's clear that she's just like exhausted and she's just like, fucking come on, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, fascinating.
Yeah.
A fascinating movie. I can't believe that I had never seen, like, I still haven't seen Jaws and I've seen this movie. I feel like I'm doing myself a huge disservice by that.
Yeah. For this to be what your reference of a shark movie is.
I know, man. I definitely have to see Jaws. I have, I don't think I've seen any, like, I'm really struggling to think of any shark attack movies I've ever seen. What have you? I haven't even seen Sharknado.
Was that? Yeah, I haven't.
Have you seen Sharknado?
No, this is really it for me too. This is the only one that I have a complete knowledge of the whole story.
Do you want to hear a fun Hollywood story?
Sure.
Okay.
Does it involve sharks?
It involves Sharknado specifically.
Oh wow, that's
great.
So
when I first moved to Los Angeles, the first job I ever had, I was a PA on an independent feature called Fort Bliss. And it had Michelle Monaghan in it. It's not really that important, but it's a good movie. Okay. Michelle Monaghan does a great performance in it. She's a delight. But immediately after that, I got a job working at Flappers Comedy Club. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the people from the movie went on, as you do in production, when you work with people you like, they tend to, you move on to the next thing altogether. And because I had this other day job, was no longer in that world. Mm-hmm. But the literal next movie that all of these people worked on together was Sharknado. So if I didn't work at Flappers, I could have been a part of the Sharknado filmmaking process.
Yeah, and nobody could ever take that away from you.
And I regret that every single day.
Oh, man. You could have been closer to meeting. Wasn't Jared from Subway in Sharknado?
Oh my God, was he?
I feel like maybe it was a sequel. Did they have sequels too?
I think they've got like 5 Sharknados.
I feel like one of them had Jared from Subway. I remember being at Subway and seeing it advertised of like him being in like a movie that was advertised as Subway, obviously bad.
Subway eat flesh. Is that the tagline they used?
They should have. They should have. If they would have talked to you, if you were a part of it.
I could have been the guy.
You could have been the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, maybe if I was involved in Sharknado, I could have made sure that Jared was on the straight and narrow, didn't do anything bad with any of those kids that he fucked. That could have been me.
Yeah, it could have been.
But
yeah,
hey,
you never know.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
If I was his coworker, if he would have.
Sharknado, another one that seems like it's probably a better shark attack movie than this movie.
Because they advertise that with the proper expectations.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous, it's so over the top ridiculous of a premise that I don't think anybody watches it with the expectations that it's going to win any awards.
No, of course not. Why would you?
Why would you? So if you go into it with the right expectations. But I think that there were people that were with the impression, at least when it was advertised, that Open Water was going to be the next Jaws.
Yeah.
In X amount of years since the last great shark movie. And people are like, all right, give me Jaws. And they're like, this ain't Jaws. It's just two unhappy people.
Yeah, this is two people who were pissed off at.
And where Sharknado had no expectations. They're like, it's Sharknado. You heard the name, right? You know what this is about. This is what you're going to get.
Jaws was prestige filmmaking. This won the Golden Trailer Award. That's like the biggest award that it won.
What, Open Water did?
Open Water did. For
first
best,
of all,
for best thriller.
But I didn't even know trailers got awards.
Oh, yeah, man.
There's trailer awards?
The Golden Trailer Awards. You never heard of this?
No, the trailies?
Yeah. I don't know what I get. Maybe it's the trailies. It won that. The Saturn Awards. It was Blanchard Ryan won Best Actress. The Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. It got nominated for Best Actress and Worst Film. Nice work.
Okay, so they're just making it. Is this like when like every single strain of weed has won some award? Is this that? What do you mean? The Saturn Awards? Saturn
Awards is like sci-fi and horror film genre filmmaking awards.
I don't see any performance that you can like. Even when you said, "Oh, I liked her performance at this part of the movie," we're not giving awards for parts of the second half of acting.
I think she was good in it, though, man.
The first thing, you got us lost. Right away. She's like, I'm going to open up as unlikable. And the first thing I say when I'm lost is I want you to not care when I die. And that was her opening statement was don't care about me when I die.
Here's Here I'm looking it up now, and here's a crazy thing. And now I'm like, how did you guys give her this award? So these are the people she was nominated with for the not the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, for the Saturn Awards for Best Actress that she beat. She beat Nicole Kidman in Birth. She beat Julianne Moore in The Forgotten. She beat Uma Thurman in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Oh, that's insane.
She beat Zhang Ji in House of Flying Daggers. And most egregiously, she beat Kate Winslet in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's insane. That's insane. We should petition right now. We should try to get that removed.
This is
We're
like
late to be passionate about this.
They gave her. She's basically like the Carrie of this award ceremony, where like all the actual really good actresses, must have gotten together and been like, "This is the only time she's ever going to get anything nice in her entire life. Let's just give her."
No, we don't care about this one.
The Saturn Award.
We don't care about the Saturn Award. I wouldn't like those. If Uma Thurman, she wouldn't even put that on her like. It wouldn't even be on her Wikipedia page if she won that.
What must have happened is all the other actresses did not show up to the awards ceremony, and they were like, "Well, we can't have a situation on our hands." So Blanchard, congratulations, you win.
I've been wondering about that when that changes things now. The last awards, I don't know the last one. There's ones every other month, but I remember seeing an award show where nobody zoomed. Everybody was just there, but there's limited capacity.
SAG Awards, I think.
So it was almost just like, well, if I see somebody's not in the audience, they didn't win.
Yeah,
I just know that when I watch the whole thing. I'm like,
not even a choice.
They are not they're not a choice. They're nominated for things, but none of that cast is here today.
Right.
So I guess they didn't get anything. When you go into watching, knowing that part of the results, I'm like, well, that's kind of weird.
Well, that's part of the crazy. Did you watch the Oscars last year?
Yeah.
The Oscars ending the way it did last year was so and I think that they were probably going to look at that and be like, "Oh, how did we fuck this up this bad?"
Yeah,
it's not a quite La La Land versus Moonlight giving the wrong envelope level of fuck up, but to put Best Actor at the end of the award ceremony because you think you're going to have this nice heartfelt moment where Chadwick Boseman is going to win posthumously. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Anthony Hopkins wins it. He's not there. All right, I guess the awards ceremony's over now. That's so bad. Like, at the very least, you got to make sure that all of your people who are nominated are ready to go and be there.
Yeah.
You can't have that bad of a fuck up.
Yeah, that was pretty bad of a
Pretty
fuck
bad.
up. Yeah, you're expecting it to be a heartfelt moment, and it's like, nope, didn't happen. All right, the end.
Even they took such a flyer on structuring it that way to make that happen, and that's one of the most Hollywood slap in the faces ever to be like, sorry, We're gonna
Yeah.
give it to the guy who's not here.
Yeah. But man,
Credits.
Now that you mentioned the Moonlight thing, you saw that when it
I
happened?
watched that live.
I watched it live.
I was
too.
at an open mic.
You were at an yeah. I was just at home watching. I couldn't get over it.
Dude, I was at Liquid Zoo. I'll never forget this. I was at Liquid Zoo, the open mic on Sundays, run by Ryan Talmo, and they had it on the TVs. They had the Oscars happening, and they were going to start the mic after the Oscars finished. So I was watching it, and then I remember they gave it to La La Land, and I don't think I'd seen Moonlight at the time, but I was like, oh, cool.
Same here,
I was
yeah.
like, good for La La Land. And then the whole thing went down, and just the look on Jimmy Kimmel's face is he's like, well, I'm never going to host this award ceremony ever again. I was just like, what,
Was it
what a
Jimmy
big
Kimmel
fuck
or was
up.
it Steve
It was
Harvey?
Jimmy Kimmel.
I thought
Steve Harvey's never hosted the Oscars.
What did he mess up?
Steve Harvey messed up the, I think it was Miss America.
Were those okay? Yeah, that's what I just remember. People
Miss
sharing
Universe?
memes. Yeah, that's what it was. People
Steve
were
Harvey.
sharing
I'm
Steve
so
Harvey.
sorry.
Yeah. I remember that.
I screwed up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I was in the same position. I only saw La La Land, and I liked the movie, so I was like, good for them. And then afterwards, I was like, there's layers of how messed up that is,
Yeah.
because now they get to even look like the good guy. That's what you remember them as, being the nice good guys,
Right.
for the movie they didn't win.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, let's give it up for them, and it's that's what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, of course they did the right thing. They did the right thing. I'm not like insulting them, but it sucks when the takeaway from the big "you won the award" moment isn't you won the award. It's oh, you won the award, but they were such a nice second place.
Right. And such a landmark movie like Moonlight to win Best Picture. And a movie like that, I mean, it's rare to see. It's so crazy to me that, like, when that kind of a film where it's like the film that should have won and is a total surprise that it actually did win. That doesn't happen often. Like, Moonlight is one of the only times it happened to, and that moment got totally botched. And I'm so glad that Parasite at least had its moment of being the movie that was like supposed to win and actually won.
Yeah.
But they didn't have somebody be like, and the Oscar goes to... Hold on. No, hold on. This joke will work better whenever I actually have it right. Hold on.
All right.
Vamp. Come on. Come on, Jeff. Vamp for me while I look up YouTube.
Oh, I got to Google what vamp means. I'm assuming it means ramble.
Ramble.
Talk
about other
sharks. Oh man, I was so rooting for the shark. I still can't get over you. Now I just want to know what you think the worst movie of all time is, because I'm also bad enough at decisions that I remember I was talking about this with my girlfriend like a couple of days where I was like, We've gone too far into this for me to change my mind. Where this is what it is. He probably already watched the movie. I talked to a guy on the phone about it. We scheduled and then I'm just like, but I'm sure I could think of more bad movies. She's like, just go with the movie. You already said it was a bad movie. Just go with that. But in my mind, I'm like, I have more movies that a lot of people love that are more controversial. That are like, people love these movies, and I'm like, no, that's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know what your worst movie is.
Oh, my worst movie? That's tough. Heart beeps. If they had gone at the awards ceremony and they're like, all right, and the Oscar goes to 1917, and everybody would have been like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. Which I feel like is probably the way people thought about La La Land. And then and then Sam Mendes goes up and he's like, I'm so sorry. It's Parasite. And everybody's like, yeah. But we're not going to have that because Parasite won it correctly. Anyway, a long-winded way of saying just that bit. Because I commit to the bit, Jeff.
Yeah, I respect that.
And you know what I also respect is you. Because you came on here and you stuck to your guns. And where can the listeners find you if they want to see what other stuff you hate?
You can check me out at Jeff Horste. I am JEFFHORSTE on all social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, doing it all. I'm jeffhorst.com. You know, if you want to see some of my upcoming shows, I will be in Houston April 1st. So if you guys are around that area, feel free to check it out.
Nice.
I'm in Boise the 25th, 26th, and 27th. There's a comedy festival out there that I will be a part of. So
sweet.
So yeah, I'm trying to get out, trying to get around.
Good deal. As you should.
Thanks.
You can find me at Diet J on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And Blockbusting has their own social medias at Blockbusting Pod on all of the social platforms. And if you like the podcast, subscribe, tell a friend, subscribe to the Patreon. You get access to bonus episodes, my whole JFlix film library of film, TV shows, and comedy specials, all sorts of fun stuff on there. And that's about it. Jeff, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.